Hey, how's everyone doing? I'll be with you shortly. Jack P, how you doing? Aloha. James Richter, how you doing? Jay Seymour Rivers, absolutely saddle up and silver up. Pablo Pina, how you doing? I'll be with you guys in just a bit. If you can, let me know how the audio is coming in. I think the other week the audio was a bit soft, so hopefully this time the audio is a bit louder for you guys. And again, I'll be with you shortly. Right. Thanks for the feedback in the audio. I'll be with you guys in just a bit. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Silver Bullion Television, SBTV. I'm your host, Patrick Vieira, and this is our weekly live stream. Glad you could be here. First things first, happy Mother's Day out there to all you mothers and to all you daddios and husbands and sons. Hope you got mom or something. Hope you didn't forget. So, again, happy Mother's Day out there. And looking at the names here, I just want to go through a quick bunch of them. Pablo Pina again. Mr. Nguyen, thank you. Appreciate you being here. Nicholas Nasty, Chris Palmer. Beep, beep. I'm a G. Okay. Mr. Nguyen again. Jay Bacon Gravy. Thank you. Appreciate that comment. Always be funding. James Richter. Again. Kim Youngon. That's the new one. Okay. Welcome aboard. If it is your first time here, please let us know. I'll go ahead and type in new and where you're from, and then we'll go ahead and see if we can acknowledge you. So again, appreciate you being here. Thanks for all the support. Once again, Patrick Gagan, aloha to you all. The opening segment here. Let's see what else we got. DC Precise, that's another new name. Welcome aboard. Mr. Bateman, Patrick Bateman, how you doing? Steve Miller. Okay, so a lot of new names here. Pablo Pina, yes, absolutely. Happy Mother's Day, all. So again, thank you all for being here. Appreciate the support. And as always, if you are new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell to be notified of new updates, and hopefully we can get some thumbs up. We appreciate those as well. And you can always find us on social media. We're at silverbullion.com.sg, where, yes, we do sell silver and gold, among other things. And more than that, we do specialize in wealth protection. And it's something that we hope we can really try and get people to acknowledge because, hey, we all know what's going on out there, right? And as I always say, we're going to need options. We are definitely going to need options, and that's what we do provide. We do provide quite a few different options for you out there if you are in the precious metals space. Silver Bullion PL is our Facebook handle. Silver Bullion SG is our Facebook handle. Silver Bullion PL for Private Limited is our Twitter handle. Audio versions, bit.ly, bit.ly/SBTV iTunes or SBTV Spotify, and Crisis Tracker. It's slowly growing, but it's a group that is growing, showing positive movement. And again, this is where we will send out some news as it pertains to finance, economics, gold, silver, things like that. So again, we try to, as I say, sift through the weeds in order to get some news that is pertinent to most of us that are out there. So again, I just want to say welcome aboard to everyone that managed to come on. So appreciate it as always. And our upcoming guest, we are looking at bringing on Mr. Steve St. Angelo. He's going to be our upcoming guest. He's the author of the very popular and insightful SRS Rocco Report. Steve considers studying the impact of energy and mining on the global economy as some of the most critical elements as or elements that impact the prices of gold and silver. And he also has a YouTube channel with the same name as his website, SRS Rocco Report. So Steve will be our upcoming guest, and I'm sure it'll be a good one. Steve, he often equates energy into just about everything out there, including precious metals, and he is right. I mean, without energy, without oil, um, it does play an important role in everything that we have as far as products and things like that. So Steve, he'll be coming on, and I'm sure we'll have a very, very good conversation. So again, looking at the comments out there, yes, our crisis tracker group. If you have that Telegram app, it's free for your phone or your desktop. Just go ahead. Crisis Tracker is the name of the group, and we will welcome you aboard and hopefully get some news out there to you that you find important. Tell you what, there's a lot of good news that comes out of there, so I do hope you'll join up. Okay, let me see some more comments here. Yeah, always be funding. Absolutely, love Steve. He's always got good information. I think Steve was one of the first guys that also woke me up to silver, and then eventually we saw Steve. He moved. I mean, he's always been in the energy sector, so he's really been a strong voice, and he's always been giving out great info. So he's one of the guys that you know he may not be as glamorous as the other guys out there. Meaning the just glamorous, I should say. But he is out there, and he gives great information. So I appreciate him for that. Again, looking forward to it. Uh, Jocko John, paper silver. Whoever heard of such a thing? That is true. We're going to touch on that because I hear a lot of guys. They talk about premiums and premiums are too high and this and that. So I'm going to be taking a look later on as the main topic of the day. What exactly goes into premiums, and then you decide are the premiums justifiable. You decide. We'll go through it all. So moving forward, that is our guest bio, and we're going to be moving. Excuse me, going on to our ebook thank you giveaway. The prize this week is going to be rigged. We gave this out a few out a few weeks ago, and the response is pretty good. So we'll do it again. Rigged by Stuart England. The largest financial fraud in history wasn't Enron's colossal accounting crimes, Bernie Madoff's record setting Ponzi scheme, or the LIBOR scandal, in which some of the world's biggest banks conspired to profit by manipulating interest rates. Nope, the largest financial fraud in history is one most Americans know little to nothing about. It isn't mentioned by politicians, reported on the nightly news, or discussed by co-workers during lunch break. The biggest fraud in history is the financial scheme perpetrated by the U.S. government and its banking accomplices. So the rules to the game, if you would like to win Stuart Englert's ebook, Rigged, you got to download the Kindle app from your phone or tablet's app store. It's a free app. Be the first to answer. Sorry, we'll take the first 5 to answer correctly in this live stream before the timer runs out. It's going to be about a minute and 30 seconds. And the answer is going to come from a previous interview. I believe it's going to come from the Talvi Costa interview. So hopefully you watched it. The U.S. winners are going to be given a link to download the ebook. Winners outside the U.S. we're going to have to arrange an alternative price since Kindle does not allow gifting of ebooks outside of the U.S. And you're going to have to provide us an email during this live stream. And as always, my faithful colleague Vincent is standing by. He will mute your comments so that way you can go ahead and send us your email and no one else will see it except for us. So hopefully you watch Tavi Costa's interview because the question is going to come from there. Okay, so hopefully everyone is ready. Let me take a look at a few comments. Okay. All right, so hopefully everyone's ready. Here's the question. According to Tavi Costa, I think that the Federal Reserve now has the mandate of suppressing blank blank. It's 2 words. 2 words. Okay, so go ahead and give it your best shot. According to Tavi Costa, I think that the Federal Reserve now has the mandate of suppressing blank blank. So just give it your best shot. It's a free opportunity to win that ebook. Okay, so answers are starting to come in. We got one saying interest rates. Let's see what else comes out. Take a shot. You never know. You might get it. Stuart's book is pretty good. It's an easy read. It's a quick read. Let's see. Fat Vegan. Nicholas Nasty's Precious Metals. Fat Vegan is interest rates. Let's see what else is out there. Monetary and fiscal. It's a good guess. Human freedom. I like that. That's another great guess. Bond prices. PM. Precious metal. Okay. Let's see what else is out there. Peter Schultz. Interest rates. We see asset prices. Interest rates. What else is out there? Bacon gravy. Let's see. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so timer has come out already. We actually got 6 that we're going to go ahead and give the prize to. Peter Schultz. The answer is interest rates. Peter Schultz, Chris Primer, Seymour Rivers again, Patrick Bateman, Fat Vegan, and Bacon Gravy. We decided to add it to 6 since Bacon Gravy, I think this is your first time here, so we'll got that little bit of an extra bonus there. So those are our 6 winners. Interest rates is the answer. Peter Schultz, Chris Primer, Seymour Rivers, Patrick Bateman, Bacon Gravy, and Fat Vegan. So again, we appreciate you all playing here, and just to check the answer, we're going to have to revisit Talvi's Costa interview, and he will give the answer in it.
I think that the Federal Reserve now has the mandate of suppressing interest rates going forward. And by doing that over time, it will continue to trigger this hoarding process of assets, of tangible assets, rather than owning cash. And so, yes, the famous phrase from Ray Dalio, that cash is trash, I think he's right. I think in terms of that, we are seeing a shift. I mean, the whole reason people are not buying Bitcoin because they want to go to the next coffee shop and buy some coffee with Bitcoin. They're hoarding assets because they don't want to hold cash.
Okay, so Talvi Costa, the answer was suppressing interest rates or suppressed interest rates. Okay, I think Fat Vegan, okay, got your message. We'll have to look for who that number 7 guy is. Let me just check here real quick. Carrie Ellen Wilder, thank you. Happy Mother's Day to you as well. Yeah, okay, if we can go ahead and check for this. I think the next guy would be, hang on, just let me check real quick. Should be, let me see, Bacon Gravy, Silver Warrior. Okay, so Silver Warrior would be the next guy. Silver Warrior would be the next guy for that ebook, Rigged. Okay, so Fat Vegan, thank you, appreciate that. Okay, so getting back to Talvi Costa's comment, suppressed interest rates. I mean, it's caused people to hunt for yield. I mean, there's no doubt in that. A lot of people, a lot of businesses, hedge funds are all hunting for yield, taking risks that we might not otherwise take. And it's caused us to even hoard assets, creating a type of an asset bubble. And this is the cause, or at least one of the cause of the asset bubbles that we are seeing. So I'm curious to know what you folks think. With the Fed suppressing interest rates for so long, what kind of risks do you think this has started to or has created, and what do you think the outcome may be with all of these bubbles that the Fed has helped to create? I mean, suppress interest rates for quite a long time, right? So moving on, there's another clip from Talvi Costa that I'd like to share. Actually, 2 more clips. So here's the first one of 2.
I think it's a steal to be buying silver sub $30 an ounce. I mean, who would have thought that we'd be printing $3 trillion of money in less than 12 months, and the deficits would be where they are with interest rates as low as they are, and still see silver below $30 an ounce? I think that's an absurd. Not to say what's going on with the CapEx situation and the almost record negative sentiment in the space where investors are thinking that silver and gold are going to be replaced by Bitcoin. And so it's like the perfect storm here for those assets to do well. I couldn't like silver more than what I do. I really think the silver is the cheapest metal in Earth, and I am as bullish as it gets in the metal.
Okay, so Tavi Costa says sub $30 is a steal, and we're looking at $30 spot price. Sub $30 spot price is a steal, and I'd have to agree with that. Silver is the cheapest metal on earth, is what he says. I like it. I like that he said that. Some people may think there may be another metal that's a bit cheaper, but I kind of like that he did. He absolutely did acknowledge silver, and I think most of us have known for quite a while that silver has surely been undervalued, especially when you look at things like the silver to gold ratio, where historically, it should be 16 or even 20 to 1. And here we are today, mid 60 range. So if you look at those things are in that way, silver is definitely surely undervalued at this point in time, this point in history. One more clip from Talvi Costa.
We're seeing central banks basically at the mercy of broken governments worldwide. So we're seeing a tsunami of sovereign debt issuances, and central banks, especially the Fed, are basically trapped. So they have no choice but to continue to pump in liquidity in the system to suppress interest rates and allow the government to continue to spend money and borrow money at very cheap levels. What is the result of all this? Now, the result is that we're seeing now the population hoarding hard assets, regardless of what they call hard assets, even is some crypto assets or commodities. So the macro and political and market environment has never been so bullish for tangible assets, especially gold and silver.
Okay, so that was pretty interesting where he said central banks are trapped by governments. Central banks are supposed to be independent. Question is, are they really independent? And that word trapped, I'm hearing it in other ways too. I'm hearing from some guys, they're now calling it a liquidity trap. I'm hearing from some guys that they say first the Fed wanted to throw liquidity out there, and now they're saying the Fed wants to pull liquidity back for whatever reason. Who knows? I mean, I think I have my own idea why, but I'm sure all of us do. So, it's pretty interesting that Talvi Costa had put it in that way. So just to clear something up here, Silver Warrior and James Richter, you folks will be 7 and 8. So again, congratulations to all the winners, and appreciate the love out there that you actually passed the book on to someone else. Appreciate that. Very, very, very kind of you. So with that Topicos interview, I hope you folks had a chance to watch it. He did bring out a lot of good points, and this one about central banks kind of being trapped by the governments that maybe they represent. Uh, that is something that it's there is going to be a consequence to this if governments start dictating to central banks what they can or should do in order to push their fiscal policies through. And the way governments are going, there's really no responsibility to the debt that they're created, which is why I say there is going to be a consequence if governments actually really have control over the central bank. So again, that should be pretty interesting as to what's going to happen there. So moving on to our website, silverbullion.com.sg. Let's go ahead and take a look at the silver and gold price. What we're seeing right now, okay, May 13th, we're going to be closed for Hari Raya Puasa. This is coming up, May 13th. US dollar, silver, 27.82, pushing up. Silver is definitely pushing up. It's up some 28 cents this morning. Gold is up a little as well at 1834.50. So both of these metals again doing pretty good. This one here, nickel, incredible, 18,102 per ton. Nickel has shot up pretty quick in a short amount of time. We were just looking at 16,000 not that long ago. So it is pushing up once again. Investor kit, just go ahead and click on this. It is a free item. You can either look at it on our website or you can download it to look at your leisure PDF form. Storage account, absolutely do sign up for a storage account. It is free. It doesn't cost anything to maintain. And, again, we all are going to need options. So this is an option that you may want to consider having a storage account ready and waiting for you if you should decide that you need to store some metals overseas. Again, everyone has a different situation. Looking at the silver to gold ratio, 65.9. So it has come down a bit, worked our way under 66, which is good or bad, depending on how you look at it. But it is definitely a time to be buying silver. And featured products, again, nickel here. Again, it's been moving up. Nickel, it is a key component in electric vehicle batteries, and that's why the interest in nickel is so high right now. And LBMA silver bars, let's just take a quick look at inventory here. 304 bars available to be stored for you to own and stored. And then we have also three that you can, or excuse me, we'll be transferring some over to the shop, where if you want to pick up from the shop, you can do that as well. But 304 ready to be stored in the vault, and you do it by signing up for an account. But first, what I want to do is with these bars, the thing is you can go ahead and use these things as collateral with our peer-to-peer loan program, where you can borrow against your metals when you need it or lend fiat currency in a safe manner. The silver bullion, we match borrowers using their metal as collateral with lenders who have extra funds or fiat who want a return with minimal risk. Okay, one important thing to know: owners of metal cannot lend their assets. This isn't a leasing program, but you can borrow against it as collateral. We don't facilitate gold leasing. So some key features with this program: borrow against your metals, as mentioned, in storage, or you can lend out funds. If you want to borrow, you need metals in the vault, in storage. If you want to lend, you don't need to have metals stored with us. You just need to fund your peer-to-peer account. You can set your own interest rate. You can choose the currency: Singapore dollar, US dollar, euro, and the duration of your loan, be it 1 month, 6 months, 12 months, or 24 months to lend or borrow. And then you can post on our platform how much you are willing to lend and borrow. And then when a lender and borrower agree on the terms, contract is created. So looking at this table real quick here, gold, you get a 62.5% LTV, whether it's a 1 month, 6 month, 12 month, or 24-month loan. With silver, platinum, palladium, nickel, and cobalt, 1 month loans are valued at 62.5%, or you can use it as collateral for up to 62.5%. 6, 12, and 24 months you can use as collateral for 50%. Whatever the prices are, you can borrow up to 50% for a peer-to-peer loan. So hopefully I didn't confuse you guys there. And it just kind of works like this, where you go into the marketplace and you use your metals as collateral, again, Singapore dollar, US dollar, and euro, and you make a borrowing request against the metals that you have in storage. So for instance, here, if someone is looking to borrow 186,000 US dollars for 1 month, and he's asking if he can get an interest rate of 3.5% per annum. He's using his metals as collateral, as we see here: 100-ounce bars, 100-ounce bars, 100-ounce bars. And these are all in parcels. So 5 times 100-ounce bar here, 5 times 100-ounce bar there. And he's even putting up some gold, 100-gram gold bars as collateral, in order to go ahead and get his loan that he's looking for at 3.5%. And you see guys who are willing to lend 3,000, 3,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,500. And there is a guy willing to lend 438,000. He's looking to get 5%. Another guy looking to lend 113,000. He's looking to get 4%. So there is a chance that this person looking to get a loan using his gold and silver as collateral in storage, asking at 3.5%, there is a chance he may get it, because there are people out there who are willing to lend, and that's because they know that the collateral is good. So this is one program, again, that we do have at Silver Bullion, our peer-to-peer program. I invite you to sign up for an account. Again, signing up for an account is easy. Just click sign up here, and go ahead and enter either a personal account, joint account, trust account, joint account with the minor, business account, or retirement account. It's that easy. Just select which one you want. Little bit of information, and then be sure to please click SBTV as your reference on how you found us. So that's just a quick look at our website. So silver and gold doing good, nickel doing very good. And we'll move over to Twitter, see what's going on in the Twitter sphere. A few things that I bookmarked. David Morgan spent a few minutes on Sprott Money. Market manipulation, also called price manipulation, can be defined broadly as a purposeful effort to control prices. And this sort of manipulation exists in financial markets as traders try to influence the markets. It's not metal, it's traders trying to influence the market. Is silver being manipulated? Many silver investors believe that the market for silver is systematically manipulated. There are many variations of this theory. Some say that precious metals are under the thumb of central bankers, while others blame big banks and their use of derivatives for the declines in the price of silver. So that was something coming out from David Morgan. Steve St. Angelo, SRS Rocco Report. We agree with Keith that the silver market experienced a large deficit last year due to record silver ETF demand. This is interesting. The World Gold Council includes ETF demand in their surplus deficit calculations. Why not the Silver Institute? In the Silver Institute, they don't. In the World Gold Council, they do. So that's pretty interesting right there. So, we're going to have to look a bit more into this. George Gammon, from 1920 to the end of 1921, the German mark, their currency appreciated against gold. 2 years later, it was toilet paper. So he put out this little chart, and you can see how basically it just went parabolic. Will this happen to the US dollar? Some people think it will, some people think it won't, but there are enough things in history out there that we can look to it as a comparison and see if history, if not repeats itself, it may rhyme. Steve St. Angelo again, the new commodity bull market. We would need to see oil reach $1,000 a barrel to repeat the same trend from 1971 to 1980. And back in 71, 80, we saw oil prices go up and we saw that inflation kick in back then, where Fed Chairman Paul Volcker had to hit almost 20% as far as raising the interest rate level to, I think he went up to 18% or so. But it won't stop the gold and silver prices from reaching new highs. And that will be due to the energy cliff destroying fiat currencies. And I'm sure Steve will talk about this in our upcoming interview. Peter Schiff, as non-productive Americans spend printed money they didn't earn, the price of everything they didn't produce will continue to rise. Policymakers will claim supply cannot keep up with demand in a booming economy, but the U.S. economy is a bust. All that's booming is money supply. And let me see if I can find the tweet that kind of goes along with this. Due to nationwide delivery delays, we are currently experiencing outages of some of our food and beverage items. We apologize for the inconvenience. And this was Starbucks. You can imagine this was Starbucks. So already we are starting to see things trickling out there. And Kyle Bass, last thing I'll look at here on Twitter, what he put out was pretty interesting. This was the line to the shop at Gucci in the Houston Galleria Mall yesterday. I spoke with several of the folks in line, and they told me it wasn't a special occasion and that they were spending their stimulus money. Stimulus money on Gucci. Okay? Stimulus money on Gucci. And here's the line to the shop at Louis Vuitton in the same mall. The Federal Reserve better be heading to branded luxury stores to fully understand the intended uses of the free money that's being handed out. Amazing stuff. So that's a look at Twitter. Let me go ahead and take a look at the comments out there and see what's on your mind. I'm sure there's a lot going on in the comment section. Let me take a quick look, see what's out there. Hang on. Martin Rev, appreciate that. Just signed up and purchased my first parcel last week. Thank you. I'm amazed. Such a great service. Locked in my storage for 5 years. Got a feeling I'll come out ahead. I got a feeling you're going to be right. Again, thank you. Appreciate you coming to us and putting some things in storage. Feeling safe to do that with us, and we will take care of your parcel. That I can guarantee you. So thank you again for signing up. Um, Glad you had a pleasurable experience. I'll pass that on to customer service. Give them a little bit of a smile as well. Thank you again. Okay, so let's see. Truth or nothing. Can't wait to stack more gold buffaloes. Gold buffaloes are cool. I like those myself. Gold buffaloes for sure. Um, Precious metals. I mean, it does. Everything seems to be funneling their way to precious metals, to where eventually, it is something It can't. It can't stay this low for forever. I mean, the way the economy is going, uh, surely more people are going to head into precious metals. Let's see what else is out there. Okay, Jack P. I wish that I had Peter Schiff's problems. Okay, all right. That's a good one. So we'll move on now to our topic of the day. And our topic of the day, I mean, I know premiums are on everybody's mind. You're looking at spot prices on one hand, and then you're looking at what the dealers are selling their products for. And then some guys, they understand the premiums. Some people are, feeling the premiums are a bit disproportional. So I want to take a look at premiums. And of course, is the spot price the true price when it comes to gold and silver? I think most of us are going to say absolutely not. Spot price is not the true price when it comes to silver, and that's because really we have two markets, or two common prices. Let's say we have the paper price, commonly associated with ETFs, SLVs, things like that, and then we have the physical price, which is tied into a silver bar or a silver coin. And these two prices are hugely different. And eventually that also trickles down to when you want to go ahead and buy your silver bar or coin at your local bullion shop, your local dealer. You do see a pretty significant difference between spot price and what the going price is to buy a physical piece of silver. So this is why I want to go ahead and take a look at premiums, and even what goes into premiums. And with that, there is a popular belief that the paper silver market, it just shouldn't exist. Paper silver, it's a derivative, and it does cause a bit of opaqueness in the physical precious metals markets. And what I'm going to do is I'll start off with this clip here from Kit Cole to kind of give us a little bit of a take. The gentleman here, he was the former director of the U.S. Mint, and they have a quite a bit of a good conversation going. So I'll just play part of it here and then let you folks decide.
Is there enough physical silver to cover paper silver?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think there's a growing issue. That's the same thing as gold. When you take a look at the gold that's in COMEX, that gold is leveraged somewhere between 60 and 85 contracts per ounce of gold. That makes a big difference because when you talk about individual investors, they don't have sophisticated derivatives to hedge. And so what they end up doing is buying the physical commodity. And so you might have an individual investor buy 10 ounces of silver or 1 ounce of gold. And that is such a small impact considering the gold that is already, or silver that's already leveraged. And so that's why I don't see a lot of fluctuations in price now. But as those derivatives come up to be called, I think you're going to see more and more future direction on increased inflation and people trying to cover their bets now because they know that price is going to go up later.
Okay, so again, that gentleman being interviewed was Edmund Moy, the former director of the U.S. Mint. He was the director between 2006 to 2011. And again, all credit to Kitco. And I did see one comment, hey, maybe it was Mother's Day. That's why guys were out there buying so much Gucci and Louis Vuitton. But still, hey, That's still a pretty hefty price to pay. So I mean, it's interesting how people can um, might want to take that one. But anyway, nonetheless, paper silver contracts are they're supposed to be covered with actual silver. Okay, you read the prospectus, things like that. They tell you that there is silver backing these contracts, and I cannot tell you if they actually are or if they are not. But like you, I do have a suspicion. I do have a suspicion, like many of you out there, if they really are covered or not. So, why is there even a paper silver market? Well, people want price exposure to the metal. I mean, everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people do feel silver and gold they are going to rise. It is a store of value. It's a safe haven, and they just want price exposure. Maybe not the metal. They don't want the metal. They don't necessarily care to store it. They don't want to hold it. I mean, from this perspective, not everyone can store 10,000 ounces of silver at home, and they don't want to pay storage fees. Therefore, they're going to choose paper silver ETFs over physical bullion. Now, you know, the thing is, in trying to find true price discovery, the paper silver price influencing the physical silver price kind of doesn't make sense sometimes, right? I mean, there's so much that goes into producing a physical piece of silver compared to keystrokes creating paper silver. But we have to know how much something costs in order to know how much we should pay. We got to have a good idea of how much it costs, right? How much we are going to pay and how much the market is willing to pay, how much the market is willing to absorb. So what I want to do is take a look at premiums. Again, premiums does seem to be a hot topic. Some guys are not happy with premiums. Some guys understand premiums. So I just want to take a look as to what goes into premiums. Again, some people feel it's too high, and others simply feel it's just the cost to hold physical. So no matter how you feel, premiums, they do come from real costs. It's not a made up thing. They do come from real costs. And so we're going to take a look at some of what these costs may be, and that starts at the mine. It's the mining cost. And it can't give you an exact ballpark because every mine is different. But let's just go ahead and go through this article from sunshineprofits.com. Silver production cost. So what did silver, this is a bit tough here. What did silver say when it's all gold walking across the street? AU. All right. Aha. The spot price of silver is commonly known and everyone can easily check it out on the internet. But how much does it cost to produce it? It depends. Silver production costs vary from region to region, from mine to mine, and from company to company, whether it's a junior or a senior company. For example, one company saw once all-in sustainable costs above the $15 per ounce level, while other companies reported costs of $9 or $12 per ounce, and depending on the company's operating efficiency, regulatory environment, and other factors, it doesn't help that most new silver is a byproduct, meaning it comes from mines that focus on other metals, can be copper, can be zinc, can be other metals. So what does it take, or what does make up the cost of silver production? First, the mining company has to discover mineable silver deposits, conduct exploratory drilling, and extensive geochemical analysis. Later, the company has to buy an exploration license and meet environmental and other regulations. Then it can establish the site, buy all the equipment, and physically extract the silver ore. And after the mine is tapped out, the mining company may be required to rehabilitate the site to pre-mining conditions. And as one can see, silver production costs, they go well beyond the mere act of pulling the metal from the ground. There's going to be costs into the future. Again, if you have to, go ahead and, replant trees or put it back to the environment that it looked like. So again, there are future costs out there. And this is why we have different notions of silver production costs. Traditionally, the industry used cash costs, which focused only on the mining and processing costs incurred. But in 2013, the World Gold Council published a guidance note on all-in sustaining costs and all-in cost metrics. The former concept is an extension of the existing cash cost cash cost metrics and incorporates costs related to sustaining production, while the latter notion includes all additional costs that reflect the varying costs of producing silver over the life cycle of a mine. Okay, so a lot of numbers here. Basically, every mine has a different cost. There's no spot price of silver, maybe let's say $20, but that doesn't mean every mining company is, let's say, pulling it out of the ground at 16 and making a $4 profit. It's different. It's different all over the world. And just want to look at one more thing here. Um, what's the link between silver production cost and the price of silver? Some analysts claim that silver production costs constitute the floor of silver prices. They are wrong. Okay, so that's one thing to keep in mind. You may think that that's the floor, okay, but it's not, and they are wrong as this as some analysts often think. It's not the floor. Okay, it is not the floor, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at the silver miner and actually what they, some of the things that they go through. Before that, I just want to take a look at some comments again. Let's see. Okay, yeah, copper's doing well. Local coin shop is 550 and over spot, I guess. Okay, we'll keep that in mind, and we're going to run through it. We're going to take a look at things that go into the premium. So moving on, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and take a look at the silver miners themselves. Short clip, and okay, hope you folks will kind of we're going to start to build a story here. So this is the first part.
The action begins down in the mine, where geologists point a niton gun at various spots in the rock face. The device detects the levels of 40 different elements, including silver. Silver in its natural state isn't silver-colored at all. It's charcoal gray. Miners drill holes in the silver-rich areas the geologists pinpointed, then insert sticks of dynamite. Parts haul the chunks of rock, called ore, to the surface. Geologists then test ore piles and blend them as required. The ore first goes into the primary crusher. The machine's huge steel teeth break up the big chunks into smaller pieces. Those pieces then drop through grates below into the secondary crusher, which breaks them down into even smaller pieces. Those go into vibrating cone crushers, which pulverize them into tiny pieces. A conveyor transports the crushed ore to the ball mill. As the mill's large cylinder rotates, steel balls bounce around inside, grinding the ore into powder. A water circulation system flushes the silver-rich powder out of the cylinder and into large tanks which keep the water moving. To separate and dissolve the metals the powder contains, workers pour in acid. The solution containing dissolved silver is pumped through filter presses. The filter plates are treated with a zinc-based chemical which attracts silver molecules. As the solution passes through, the plates trap particles containing silver, forming a layer of black powder called silver precipitate. This precipitate is composed of approximately 50% silver and 50% waste. To separate the silver from the waste, they first dry the precipitate in a gas furnace for a couple of hours. Workers put the now dried silver precipitate into an oven, along with chemicals which prevent silver from burning off. Approximately 4 hours later, the silver and waste have separated and melted. Workers pour them into bar-shaped molds. The silver, being heavier, settles at the bottom. Workers skim off the waste floating on top. In less than 5 minutes, the molten silver cools and hardens, enabling workers to extract what is now a silver bar. The mining company sells the bars to a refinery.
Okay, so as mentioned, if we caught that last part, the miner then sells the bar to the refinery or refiner. Okay, so now we have some costs starting to add on to the price of silver. So right here we have additional costs being added to the physical cost and part of the birth of what we call the premium. There's a little bit more to it, but we'll just start from this point. So what I want to do is kind of keep score here at the paper and the physical added cost. Okay, so paper silver, well, it's just pretty much keystrokes, right? Just not much to it. Physical silver, already we are starting to see the mining cost. And then they do have to ship it to a refiner. So by the time the refiner gets it, he's paying mining costs and he's probably paying shipping as well. So these two things are starting to come into play. So again, something we got to keep in mind when we look at premiums, the cost to have a physical bar or a coin. So let's take a look at the refining side.
The process of refining fine metal starts when gold, silver, platinum, and palladium are delivered to the refinery in several impure forms. The lots of precious metals are weighed and tabulated, then the lots are combined with flux, which looks a lot like you're actually making matters worse by pouring a bunch of dirty sand in with the metal, but it's actually a very important ingredient. This flux and the impure metal is placed in a vessel called a crucible. This is made from material that can take the heat better than the material inside it. So the crucible is then put into a melting furnace that transforms the metal and flux into a molten material. The crucible is then removed and the molten material is poured into a mold, sometimes shaped like a brick or other times like an inverted cone. Especially when they use a lot of flux in the cone-shaped mold, the flux fuses with the undesired matter to form a slag that is lighter than the precious metals. The slag naturally floats to the top of the mold, leaving a pure button of metal below. You can then easily separate the metal button from the slag. Once the whole lot has been melted and sampled, it's then remelted and recooled into grains about the size of BBs in order to speed up the extraction process. The grains are then placed into a mantle where an acid solution is used to dissolve the metals into a liquid form. Once the metals are fully dissolved, chemists use other substances to induce reactions that extract the exact metal they are looking for. The results are that you end up with an absolutely pure piece of gold, silver, platinum, or palladium.
Okay, done panning for silver. All right, there. So again, now let's take a look at this little scoreboard of sorts. We have the mining cost. Miners, they have to pass it or ship it over to the refiner who picks up the tab. And then he starts his refining process for purity. Okay, so these are costs that are already starting to add up. There's still more refining to do. So let's take a look again at what goes on the refining side.
PAMP's rank as an industry leader begins with the refinery itself. At PAMP, establishing trust starts at the very beginning. Whether scrap or doré retrieved from the mine.
Okay, so refiners, they do get their metals from various sources, either the miners or, as you heard, it can be doré, it can be from scrap. It can be from scrap such as jewelry and even other sources. I mean, I think you've all seen guys, they're sell me your gold chain, this and that, this and that. Guys looking to buy gold chains. Well, they in turn sell it to someone else, maybe a local bullion shop or somewhere else. And then that thing more than likely is going to be melted down again and refined into a piece of gold, more than likely. So one key point is that when you think of scrap, it is gold or silver that has been out of the ground for perhaps decades, hey, maybe even centuries in some cases. Who knows? But it is not newly mined gold. So does it really matter that your silver bar, say a PAMP, as mentioned here, had its silver origins from a scrap necklace, a scrap ring, or what about e-waste? Does it matter? And would you even know just by looking at your bar if it came from a mine or if it was recycled gold? Would you even know? I mean, you went and bought a gold bar, a silver bar, but do you know where that is it newly, let's say, did it come out of the ground? Is it newly mined, or is it something that was remelted down or melted down and refined again? You wouldn't really know. So let's take a look at a few more things on the refiner side.
All material arriving at PAMP is immediately secured and precisely weighed. Accurate content assessment begins with melting. Dip samples are then taken for analysis, a process better known as assaying. Providing reliable and impartial assaying results is essential. The PAMP laboratory, certified for competency by the International Standards Organization, only employs assayers who work in accordance with Swiss precious metals control laws. These assayers carry out their work in total independence of the refinery or external customers, and it is their signature alone that appears on each assay certificate.
Okay, this is like a field trip. Yeah, okay. Well, hopefully we can learn something new here, hopefully. But mentioned here, hang on, let me move this. Okay, mentioned here are independent assayers to verify the weight and purity through sampling. This again brings on additional costs. Again, these are things that add into the premium. So let's take a look once again at that scoreboard. Paper silver, keystrokes, physical silver, the mining cost, the shipping cost to the refiners. The refiners, they start the process for purity. Scrap middlemen who go ahead and sell their silver and gold to refiners. You don't know what price they're also selling those at, or how many hands it passes through, even if it goes to refiner or maybe a local refiner, someone who's going to melt it down. And then you have independent assayers who do the lab work. So again, you can imagine how much more cost already this is adding to creating a physical piece of, then there's a few keystrokes creating paper silver. So let's take another look at what else goes on with the refiner.
The refinery is committed to maintaining high quality standards throughout the precious metals industry. Indeed, PAMP is honored for its integrity as one of only 5 approved good delivery referees of the London Bullion Market Association. Each undertaking is considered a custom order, and whether supplying sponge, grains or cast bars of any size, PAMP can refine gold up to 4 or even 5 nines purity. Results are checked and checked again until customer specifications are exactly met. Only then can the final product bear PAMP's celebrated 4-die hallmark. Production can meet demand in excess of 450 metric tons. All precious metals are treated: gold, silver and platinum group metals. Testament to its international prestige, PAMP is a refinery of good delivery, accredited by the London Bullion Market Association, the London Platinum and Palladium Market, and the world's leading futures markets. Indeed, good delivery accreditation is the cornerstone of PAMP quality, a precious guarantee that PAMP products are authentic through and through, from weight to fineness to uniformity.
Okay, yes, this is a field trip. Sit down, keep your seat in the bus, no sticking out of heads and hands, so everyone be safe out there, and continue on with this field trip. So quality control measures are added to labor costs. I mean, of course, the refineries are going to have to make sure what they're selling is the real deal. And got to check the scoreboard now because, one more thing, sorry, I just want to say production is limited to machinery as well. And again, this is something that we've been talking about where there is a high demand and production cannot keep up. A lot of that is because production it's dictated by how quickly the machines can produce. Remember, there's always an optimum range that a machine can operate in. Okay, so moving on, checking that scoreboard again. Mining cost, he ships to the refiner who picks up the tab, who starts the refining process for purity. Scrap middlemen who collect and sell silver to gold refineries at a different price. It can be more, it can be less, who knows. Independent assayers who do the lab work. Additional quality control and production limited to machinery costs to man and maintain. Again, this list is starting to add up now when it comes to physical silver and when it comes to things that go into the premium. But with that last point, or production limited to machinery, no, I don't think we can leave out that in periods of high demand, things such as an employee maybe having to work overtime, that might have to be factored in as well. And perhaps more frequent maintenance on the machines and downtime that might also happen. Again, machines have an optimum range. If you're going to turn up the dial and really get them to go out of that optimum range, you may have to do a bit more maintenance. There may be a bit more downtime of the machines, which might actually work, in controversy to trying to get out more product. It may bring more downtime. So again, these are costs that can and might and are in fact added to the product in extreme times such as now. So that's a refinery. Now, what about a sovereign mint, let's say, such as the US Mint? The first thing is that a vendor for the US Mint has to create the blanks. The US Mint, they don't create their own blanks, they actually buy it from a vendor. Okay. So these blanks are called planchettes. Okay. So what's the process, additional costs that go into making coins? And I think a lot of you folks who do buy silver and gold, you notice that coins cost more than bars. So what's the process? We'll go ahead and take a look at making the blanks for silver coins.
We're going to take the fine silver and melt it in our furnace. Then we're going to extrude it into a strip, which we then blank. So at that point, it becomes round like an actual 1 ounce silver medallion. And then it will be burnished, and then we'll actually be able to strike it.
Well, silver turns into liquid at about 1,700 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's got to be above that, obviously, so closer to 2,000. They got to make sure that it's hot enough that it doesn't start to solidify before they get it poured in here.
One of those billets is approximately 810 ounces. It starts with the billet loader, and it comes up into the heater. In the heater, it heats up, and then I drop it down onto my ramp, which slides right into my kitty.
So here what we got, he's blanking out for 39 millimeter or 1 ounce rounds. That's what's happening here. 39 millimeter or 1 ounce rounds. Already it looks great.
The little beads are actually the polishing media. They use a 6 millimeter ball, and they call these a satellite. The satellites rub the media, and by deburring, smoothing the media makes it shiny.
Okay. I did not choose the music for the past two videos, okay? I mean, they've been busting my eardrums as well, so sorry about that, guys. But where we are now is, hang on, let me get there here. We're here. Okay, so, I mean, pretty good stuff to understand how the blanks were made. You know, we see a whole lot of other costs when it comes to making a coin, particularly the blanks, the additional production costs of melting, even remelting sometimes, extruding to create these blanks, the burnish process, and so on. So we got to add this to our score sheet, right, to see all the costs that go into premium. And it may not even be all the costs, but again, starts with the miner, ships to the refiner starts the process, the scrap middlemen who also bring in silver and gold, independent assayers who do the lab work, additional quality control, production limited to the machinery, cost to man and maintain, creating the blanks now that may include associated labor costs. Well, it actually does. And melting, even remelting, extruding, if that's a word, not sure, blanks, and burnish, the process of creating coin. So from here, it's going to be shipped out to, let's say, the US Mint. Okay, this is what we're looking at. So let's continue to see the process of now when the blanks actually reach the US Mint.
We receive our silver blanks in from the vendor. Headquarters handles the contracts, and they order these planchettes or blanks from the vendor. It comes in this form. It has an upset edge, and when we receive it, we verify that all of the count is correct, that we have all of the blanks, and then we send a sample up to the laboratory for the assay. Then these trays come into the press room. They get put into these setup trays where the edges are oiled properly to make sure that they run through the press smoothly, so it doesn't get any feeding system faults or jams. Then they get put into the cassettes, and the cassettes get fed into the press, and the press creates the bullion coin or any other coin that we run automatically. After the coin is struck, it is put into those trays, and the trays are brought over to the tuber. The tuber will put the coins into the plastic tubes, and there's 20 in a tube. These coins are only sold to approved purchasers, and there's about a dozen of those. And the purpose of that, Congress set that up to provide a secondary market for the consumer. We run a 3-shift operation 5 days a week, so we don't stop.
Yeah, okay. Why is she not wearing gloves? So what we saw here, the blanks arrive at the mint and other set of product costs begin. The costs that may be either shipping from the vendor's cost or price, of course, providing the blanks, the labor, quality control, the process to get ready for striking the coin, and of course, even striking the coin. They include the packaging and the fact that there are only so many approved purchasers for the U.S. Mint or authorized purchasers to the U.S. Mint. That also plays or has a role. So let's call these authorized purchasers wholesalers who then sell or sell, excuse me, they then sell it to the secondary market of dealers. So again, there are a lot of hands that physical silver or the production of physical silver passes through that are all tacked in to the premium. Mining costs, shipping costs, refiners, again, when they start the process for purity, the middlemen, the independent assayers, the additional quality control, the production limited to the machines, again, maintenance, overtime, whatever it may be, creating blanks that may include, again, the whole process of blanks where melting, remelting, extruding, creating the blanks, the burnishing, to polish up the blanks, and then they go ahead and ship it to the mint. Mint goes through a set of quality control. They strike and mint the coins, and then eventually it's sent out to a wholesaler who is going, of course, he has to sell at a profit. He has a margin. And then, of course, the dealers who also have a margin. All of these things, at least these things come into play whenever you look at premium. And the thing is, when it sold to the authorized purchasers who incurred all these costs mentioned, as just mentioned there, add on a margin for profit and sell to the dealers. The dealers then add on a margin for shipping and whatnot, overhead, the cost to do business, and in the end, all the things mentioned above, maybe even more, maybe some less, is the premium. Is the premium that you and I pay. Now, there may be a few more things added in there, but I mean, as you can see, just to have that physical coin, that physical bar goes through so much more than does paper, silver, and few keystrokes. I mean, I'll speak for myself here. I don't know about you, but after seeing all that, I don't feel too bad paying a premium, even at current prices. I mean, of course, I'd like them to be a bit lower, but it becomes understandable. Becomes understandable for me. So that was the topic of the day. You know, looking at the premium. So I just want to see what you folks feel about premiums. I know premiums are high right now, but I'm curious. Do you feel premiums are justifiable, or do you feel they're too high? I don't know if some of you will even say too low, but is it about right? Is it too high? Is it about right? Is it fair? Curious to see what you folks think about this. Okay. MX Old Timer reality, no such thing as paper metal. And again, that is true, which is why it goes back to, you know, we see the spot price. And a lot of guys I speak to, they do kind of tend to shade over and say that the paper price actually controls the physical price. And after seeing everything that goes into creating a physical item, bar or coin, I think we got this thing backwards. You know, the physical price should be the true price. I mean, or at least closer to that actual physical price where we see premiums tacked on. I mean, you know, it's just too far right now. You know, the premiums compared to spot prices. So curious to see what you think. Martin Rev, try to, you know, as long as you guys take your seat in the bus, you know, it's all good. I don't want anybody flying out the window when we hit those bumps in the road. So all good. It's all good. Okay, so let's see. Jack P. I don't think the dealers are getting rich. Oh, wait, hang on. Sorry. So why the big difference between the spot and premium? Again, pretty much just what we went through. Spot price, you're really looking at I'm going to say a paper trading price. It's what they've decided to go ahead and trade the metal at that. Well, it's what they've decided to trade silver at. Now, how you define silver as paper or physical, it's a different story. Probably you and I define physical or silver as being a physical item. These guys, they just define it as something to trade. So there's a big difference already with that. Um, let's see what else is out there. Let's see. Hang on. Just want to see. Okay, Jack P, your comment wanted to begin. I don't think the dealers getting rich. Um, yeah, because with on the dealer end, you have to be very competitive. You can't just decide to set a price and that's it. You can't, because you have to compete. If a different bullion shop is selling at X, you kind of have to be close to X. If it's selling at Y, you kind of have to be close to Y. It's just a very competitive business for sure, and which is why you don't really see any one bullion dealer really run away with prices. So, having said that, I'll move on to the commentary section. Try not to bore you folks with it, but premiums, they're understandable and they put the territory when you want to own physical. And I'm like you out there. I don't like paying high premiums, so I get it, but I do understand there are premiums that need to be paid. So I want to give you 3 tips. I will give you 3 tips from a dealer's perspective that might help you to get your silver at lower prices or lower premiums. First thing, buy bars instead of coins. You can see, we just showed you how there is a more lengthy extended process when it comes to coins, which is why coins are more expensive. So buy bars instead of coins. It's less labor intensive to make one 100-ounce bar than it is to mint 100 1-ounce coins. So you do find a cheaper price most of the time with bars. Now I know, with bars you don't have that ability to go ahead and you know you don't have that ability where with coins, you can, if we come to a barter point in time, coins, you can sell it off one by one by one by one. With the bar, you can't do that. So that's maybe one thing when you do buy coins, you have that added divisibility where you can, trade it off one at a time, sell it off one at a time. Where the bar, you'd have to sell the whole thing. So, I guess essentially with the bar, you can save money up front, but with coins, you may spend a little more up front, but on the back end, if you do have to, go ahead and sell it off, you can sell it off, piece by piece. So with the bar, you can't do that. So maybe that premium, it's a bit more, has a bit more comfort for you, knowing that you can go ahead and do that. Tip number 2, look for older coins, a coin that's maybe like 3 to 5 years old. So let's say like a 2015, 2016, 2017, 20. Look for those coins. If you see an older coin like that in your bullion shop, chances are it was a buyback, meaning somebody came in off the street, they sold those coins to the dealer. Now, when this happens, your dealer set the buying price. That coin came in off the street, the dealer set the buying price, and that means he's more flexible to set the selling price. Okay, so it's not like the dealer bought it from a supplier where he had a cost. This one, your dealer set the cost. So if you see coins 2015, 16, 17, whatever it is, chances are your dealer did not buy that in 2015 and it sat in his shop up until today. More than likely it came in off the street where your dealer set the price. And if your dealer set the price, he can be more flexible to set the selling price. So look for those coins. If your dealer is selling those coins at a higher price, something's strange. That's a bit strange because, like I say, they came in as a buyback. So more than likely, that flexibility of him buying it at a certain price can translate over to that flexibility of him selling it at a price he can be more flexible with. So look for coins that are a little bit older. Okay, and tip 3, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to do this. Buy a bar, even if the certificate is missing. Okay, dealers may be willing to sell the bar to you for a little bit less since not everyone wants to buy a bar that's missing its accompanying certificate. And chances are, if you do want to sell that bar, he'll buy it back from you anyway. So don't worry too much about if it's missing a certificate. Uh, Take the savings on the front end where he may be willing to sell it to you at a little bit lower cost. So I know premiums are high. Those are three things you might want to look into whenever you take a stroll down to your next bullion shop. So key takeaway is there is a price to hold physical, either in hand or in storage. And not everyone wants to pay the additional cost of holding physical, but they do want the price exposure. Therefore, they do buy the paper silver. Now, aside from all of this, of course, is supply and demand. Demand is high and production cannot keep up. And on the dealer end, on any business for in any business for that matter, if you don't know when your next shipment is coming in, or maybe weeks out, maybe months out, the cost of doing business begins to rise. There's a little bit more of an element of risk when it comes to trying to continue on as business as usual. But although for the most part, bullion dealers, as I said, they're competitive and they will give you the best price they can, considering the circumstances. Okay, so that'll wrap up the main topic and the commentary part of the program. Hope it was good for you. And again, main thing to consider is when it comes to premiums. I hope I help helped us to understand that there are a lot that goes into making a bar or a coin, where spot price, really call it a paper trading price, physical bullion. There's a lot that goes into it. And not to mention like how we saw with the US Mint, they sell it to authorized wholesalers who then sell it to dealers. So again, even on the very end, all of these costs need to be absorbed. And like any business, it's going to be passed on. But luckily, it's a very competitive business where bullion dealers they do the best they can, and I can tell you we do the best we can as well, as far as trying to keep prices and premiums as low as we can. So take a look at some of the comments here. um MX old timer, true, years from now today's prices seem like a giveaway. Could very well be the way the Federal Reserve is going, the way the governments are going with all this free money, um, especially with the thoughts of things like MMT. I think just give it time, give it some time, and you're going to see how things definitely going to unfold. Yeah, at Sharp Eye for Coins, that was Craig Hemke's point in our interview with him. Watch it; he explains it best. Let me see if I can see what that question was. Um, Let me just take a quick through. Oh yeah, okay. So that was pertaining to the question of why has lumber gone up 300%, but not silver. Give it time. Give it time. May not be 300%, but give it time, and it's going to creep up. It has been creeping up. It just doesn't get the news or the airtime. Like Dogecoin or Doggy Coin, however you want to pronounce that thing. That's where we saw Elon Musk dictating the price of that Dogecoin again. Um, okay, so let's see what else is out there. A few more comments, and then we'll be wrapping up. It's Mother's Day, right? You take care of Mama. Make sure she's well pleased with her day today. So let's see what else is out there real quick. Get you back to Mama. Let's see. You're welcome. You're very welcome. We try to take things from an understanding of just the average person. I mean the average person, and then hopefully the guys that are wealthy coming into the silver and gold arena, they're trying to understand it as well, and which is why I've always said your comments are the most important thing out there. They help people. They even help. They help me. They help someone who's just learning about silver or gold, and it's extremely important because whatever I say, I mean, it's one thing, but to see your comments out there, that's another thing. And I'll even say it's more important than anything I could ever say. So I appreciate the comments. That means a lot. Um, okay, a couple more things, and then we'll get out of here. Let's see. Um, Hang on, just let me look here. Yeah, Pablo Pina, Elon called it a hustle like the dollar. So we may see the dollar dip. Who knows if that happens? If dollar dips, typically you're going to see on the other end of that seesaw where gold and silver are going to rise. Okay? Dollar goes down, gold and silver rise. Dollar goes up. A lot of times, gold and silver goes down. So actually, gold and silver are gold and silver. They don't move. It's the currency that moves. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. It's the currency, not the gold and silver. Okay, so I guess that'll be wrapping up. Jack P, absolutely, things are really looking bullish again. Hey, keep an eye on that nickel. I mean, moving from 16,000 to 18,000 fairly quickly. So keep an eye on that. And I do invite you to watch our EV metal series, which my colleague Stephen T has been grabbing the bull by the horns and going at it with. Um, you know, nickel takes, or EVs, electric vehicles, they take a while to warm up to, but guys, it's going to be the future. It's not me who's doing this. It's, you look at governments, they want to go ahead with you know, green types of energy, things like that, and they are looking at electric vehicles. And in electric vehicles, there surely does look to be a play on nickel, especially class one nickel, which is a type of nickel used for electric vehicle batteries. So I do hope you get a chance to take a look at my colleague Stephen T's electric vehicle series. He's doing some pretty good work there. So with that, I'll be wrapping up. Patrick Bateman, thank you. Appreciate that. Vincent, thank you. Appreciate you being here again as well. So with that, we'll be wrapping up. And as always, take care of each other out there. Be a blessing, not a burden. We can see already not everyone is woke. We're going to have to help people, and we can't help them if we don't understand how to help ourselves first. So help ourselves first, help our families, help our friends, and we move forward from there. And as always, saddle up for what's coming ahead. Silver up as well. I'll see you guys next week. Take care. Aloha.